Okay, I had a bit of a challenge with the latest recording, so we're going to run back through this a little bit, and apologies as we build this out. So last episode, we were looking at building out some create table SQL. And we had a couple of issues, or a couple of values we were looking at, which were basically the column name. Let me do this. Let me run this real quick. And let's do this. So what we were doing was we were going through, and actually I'm just going to quit after that so we can see one. Whoops. Let's run it somewhere in here. There we go, main. Okay. We were looking at the description for tables here, and we could see with each row we've got a column name, a type, whether it is null or not, and then we've got this was, let's see, null or not, and then we had whether or not, I believe it's a primary key or not, and then default values, and then some additional stuff. Now, what we were looking at last time is we were looking at the function, which was which we used in some of these, which would be the auto increment. So if we looked here, I think address was one. If we look here, yeah, we did the auto increment, and so we'd see that. But now one of the other things we'll see, because of what that is we can see that, for example, let's see if I can find a column that does it. Oh, address audit will have it. Sometimes I'm going to have a default, and sometimes I'm going to have some extra, which extra would be, in this case, extra is the auto increment. So what we want to do is be able to take care of default values, and we also want to be able to deal with the extras at this point. So for default, for the extras, instead of, so this is our primary key. Let's do this. I'm sorry, this is, let's say, allows null. Let's do that, just sort of comment this a little bit. This one is going to be our extras. And it's just going to be whatever it is. However, let's see, this is going to be primary key. If it exists, which it may not. So if we have a primary key, if one of those columns is primary key, then great, which is up here. If it's a primary, then it's going to go ahead and create that. Otherwise, we're just going to close out our command. This is our SQL command. And here we go. Here's our defaults. Let's do handle default values if they exist. Now this one's a little tricky because we have two different types of default values. We could have a default value that is either auto increment or, as it is here, whoops, address audit, I think's got it. Hello. It's a current timestamp, which if you look at those here, it's actually a function. You can see that it's actually a function being called. But if you were to look at one of the other ones, so let's just not quit, but let's go through and show all of those. Let's see, do I have any extra prints? Nope, that should work. So if I do this, then we're going to see some, for example, I believe, where did that go? We had one that was a default value, none assigned. Let me go look for that real quick. Did I have that over here? I did not. Let's go to grab this. Let's do it like that. And let's just do this real quick. I think it was this. There we go. So here, this one, username, has a default value of not assigned. Now, if we just bring them over, then in this case, it's going to give us something that's not correct. So I'm going to let me go ahead and do the create SQL real quick. And let me get rid of some of those pieces. So it's a little easier to read. And so we run into, what was that? End users. Let's see, dates, app user. There we go. So let's actually look at both of these. So if we look at all dates, and let's just go ahead and format these. Now if we look at all dates too, let's go ahead. Then here, oh, we didn't have anything super special here. Oh yeah, we do. I'm sorry. We're going to come in, we can do create not null default is going to be this current timestamp. So here we want it to be the function. We don't want it to be a string. However, down here on app user, the default is a string. We don't want to call it. So we're going to say if it's a function, which we've seen a little bit, if it's a function, then, which basically we're just going to say, hey, if we've got a parenthesis in there, it's a function. And so in that case, we're just going to take the value out of the column. Otherwise, if you can see here, we're going to wrap it in single quotes. Now, if we do all of that, then we're going to get all of our little executes, our SQL statements. Let's go ahead and see what we've got here. So we're going to print it out and then we're going to execute it. So this time we're going to try to actually create tables, and we're going to end up having an error, which is on all dates. And what you're going to see here is another case we're going to have to deal with. Let's pretty print it. And if you see here, we come in and we do create dates. And let's clean this up a little bit so it's easier to read. Now, if we come through here, let's see what it's doing. It does type date, date time. Not null default. Okay, so let's see what he does. Let's see what he complains about. Oh, all dates already exists. Oh, so we already have that probably. So if we go to tutorial tables, let's go ahead and delete all of those tables. And now let's run it. Okay, so we are going to have an issue with address. And here, what we're going to see is this little integer display width is deprecated and will be moved in a future release. And that problem is that we have that integer there. So let's try to fix that one. Okay, first let's get rid of our tables. Here. And so it was just that address. But see, now it came back and it actually gave us an error. So now what we could do is we could come back up here and do the raise on warnings and say false and let it just go ahead and create it. But we don't want to right now. We're going to go ahead and bail out. So in so doing, we can drop this table. And what we're going to do here is we're going to come into the types. Where is our types? Here we go, which is going to be column 1. That's the allows no. Let's see. And it's going to be fix for data types int, and we're going to do call type equals column 1. So now we're going to change this over because we're going to use call types instead because we can't directly check it. That's the way it tends to work. So okay, so we sign it out, and now we're going to say if call type dot starts with I think that's how it works. If it starts with int, then call type equals call type dot split, and we're going to split it on that first parenthesis, and we're just going to take the part to the left of the parenthesis. So now let's see what we got here, and we're going to see. So he's still not doing that. He's not picking that up right. So let's go look at here. Oh. And let's drop that table. Now let's go look at this. So that is column type. So let's go look here. Let's quit after this just to be safe. And we're going to print call type. And let's see what that looks like. So if we look here, call type is int 11. Oh, it's going to be lowercase. Let's do this. Let's do, I believe it is to upper. We're going to find out in a second. Okay, so it's not to upper. Let's try upper. There we go. Okay, so now if we look here, let's just print it again, make sure it works. There we go. So now we've got our int. So let's get rid of those and let's see if it runs. And we run into one now with create table all dates. So year 4 is running into the same thing. So we want to take here. Let's do that. We're just going to do an or. So if it's that, or it starts with year. Whoops, all upper starts with year. It doesn't like an or, so I think it's this or. There we go. That's it, my mistake. So let's drop all those tables again, just because. And we're going to drop these tables. And now, if we come through, looks like it all ran. So now we're going to see. Let's see, what am I printing? I'm printing out some extra crap I don't need. So creating the table. Oh, and I did my SQL beforehand. So, which I'm going to leave that because it makes sense to do so. I'm going to cut a little line out here. And I don't need this stuff. So I don't really need to worry about these tables anymore. I'm going to comment them out, though. And so now if I run it again, it'll probably do nothing. There we go. Connect to source, connect to the target. And now if I look, I'm going to see in testing tables, I'm going to see all my tables that are also in my tutorial. Whoa, I got to redo that. That are here. So I've got 1, 2, 3. Let's see. So I've got my 12 tables there, and I should have here. I should have 12 tables here. So we have our tables now that we can create tables from one database to another. And I think that's a good stopping point, because now we're going to take it to the next level and we're going to start playing around with the columns. And that'll be where we pick up next time. So go out there and have yourself a great day, a great week, and we will talk to you next time.